If y'all here already, 1 second, I decided to eat some Sour Patch right before I started stream, so give me a second. So what's up, y'all? Thank y'all for tuning in. This is the second stream on the channel. The first one was yesterday. I talked about going to the Sinners movie, which I did last night. And I have some thoughts, feelings. I want to go over what people are saying about the movie. There has been a lot of people that love the movie, some people that don't love the movie. Critical reception is going crazy. The movie made a ton of money in its opening night. I assume it's going to make a ton of money in its opening weekend. And the movie has a lot of hate on it. So, welcome to the channel. I'm Jew. Please like and share the video. Don't forget to sub. Now, let's get into the whole Sinners conversation. So, just starting off, so you know a little bit about me. I am a horror fan. I always have been. Like, my mother and me watched every scary movie that ever was, from the Friday the 13th to Freddy, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, to Michael Myers movies, just about every scary movie there ever was. And really, there's only ever been one movie that scared the shit out of me, and that was Candyman. I mean, I literally have a painting in the back behind me of Candyman because that's been my favorite horror movie forever. Hold on. I literally painted this for an art show back in the day, and it's huge. I don't know what you can see or not see, but it's literally Candyman. I think personally for me, I love Candyman because he looked like me. It was a scary dude that looked like me, that made the whole experience feel more personal. So again, I say all that to say that I love horror movies. I always have. I love vampire movies. The last vampire movie I saw with my mother. We went to the movie theater to see Interview with the Vampire back in the day. It had to be 95, 94, something like that. But it has always been a passion of mine to watch horror movies, black films, vampire movies, all of the above, which Sinners basically wraps all of that into one, along with some gangster stuff, which I loved. So I just want to get into what this movie was about, the critical reception, all that. So Ryan Coogler's Sinners earns $19.2 million at the domestic box office, which is the second biggest opening for an original horror film this decade. I assume the first has to be Jordan Peele's movie, Get Out. I'll look it up, but I think that's what it is. Getting into some of the critical reception. Again, this is the best reviewed wide release film this decade as of right now. I don't know how much everyone trusts Rotten Tomatoes at this point or not, but it has 98% reviewer score and a 96% general moviegoer score, which is really amazing for any movie to get that. A black-led movie, black-directed movie with a really niche topic of being about the Deep South and vampires, black vampires and all of that. So I think that's really dope. Like I said, not everybody loves this movie, but a lot of people do. And I just want to get into some of the tweets about it. Yeah, this is kind of an all-timer, man. I need this film to make $1 billion and I'll do it by my damn self if I have to. Going to see this movie 3 times is not rare. Like, me and my girl were talking about going to see it again because there was some stuff that you miss, even if you watch the whole movie. Like, she and I discussed it on the way home, just missing certain parts of the movie or needing more clarification or more time to let a certain scene sit on, you know, your spirit, your brain, everything. And I'll talk about that a little bit later because there's one scene in the movie that I think is like the definitive scene that kind of explains the thoughts and the feelings that most people have about this movie. So we'll get into that a little bit later. But yeah, I hope this movie makes a ton of money. If it does, it's great for cinema. It's great for black cinema. It's great for new IP that's just not a huge franchise or another Marvel or Star Wars movie or anything like that. Sinners fucking rules, a vampire dance epic about muscled gangster twins fighting capitalism and living corpses, where history haunts through song and dance. Beware of evil Irish jigs and threats of assimilation. Just stomping, bloody dream of a big budget genre movie. I loved it. I really want to talk about the whole Irish theme. Like, the main vampire in this movie was probably my favorite character, and I wish I knew more about him. I think his name is Remick, but we will get into that a little bit later. But yeah, I agree with everything that was said. This movie was amazing. It was amazing. I do have a couple things that I didn't love about it, which we'll talk about, but the movie was amazing. It covered so many topics and crossed so many genres, and it's hard to just say exactly, what this movie was or to put it in a specific box, because again, it was in the Deep South. It has vampires. It has, the whole capitalism vibe. It has the KKK in there. It has mixed woman passing for white and what that meant to a relationship that could or couldn't happen. It just has everything. The movie was amazing. So let's see what else people are saying. For a few hours before the sun went down, we truly were free. I didn't take any notes when I was watching the movie because I didn't have my phone out, but I remember that quote specifically toward the end of the movie. And there was another quote that said something about Chicago still just replacing plantations with big buildings. Basically, them talking about not being free. And I do think that what freedom means to certain people, along with love and music, just being a connective tissue to the Black experience in America specifically. So yeah, I loved that quote. Saw a great film, although I'm wondering if it's going to get hype backlash at this point. Very entertaining, and the music was really good. I do think this movie is going to get hype backlash. I do think so many people are coming out so strong and saying they loved it for all of these reasons, and other people are going to see the movie and not be as impressed. I don't think you have to love this movie just because you're Black or speaking from a Black experience. The movie is amazing, cinematography-wise, music, soundtrack, score, the acting, everything about this movie is just brilliant and perfect and beautiful and a must see. But of course, I think just in this political climate that we're in, people are going to find reasons to not like the movie for one reason or another. It could be because it's seen as too Black, or it doesn't speak to them and their experience, or whatever, what have you. But I do see that being, I do think this movie will get pushback for not being as good as it was hyped to be, the same way that Black Panther has gotten a lot of pushback in recent years for not being as good as it was hyped to be by the Black community or general moviegoers, but we'll see. It's kind of incredible how many people are going to such lengths to see this film in its truest format. If nothing else, Sinners is proof that people will pack out theaters if the theatrical experience is worth it. I agree with that. The movie theater that we went to at like 9:30 at night was completely packed. Like, people wanted to see the movie. They wanted to see what was going on. People were gasping. You could hear people shifting in their seats when certain things were happening. There were laughs. Like, I think the audience was really dope. And to be in a packed house and be able to experience that with other people, other adults that were really interested in the movie, not talking, not on their phones or anything like that, was just a super dope experience. Let's see. Sinners is the kind of film that you see through, Sinners is the kind of film that somehow, through the experience of pure love for Sinners is the kind of film that somehow, through the evidence of pure love for storytelling, messaging, the craft makes you want to work harder at your passion. It's art that stirs the spirit. I fumbled reading that whole thing, but I agree with everything she said. Literally watching this movie, I wanted to get home and work. I wanted to stream last night and kind of make a reaction and share my thoughts about the movie, but I didn't do it because I wanted to kind of give it time and let it sit and see what else everyone was saying about the movie as well. But yeah, the movie was inspiring. Everything about that movie was inspiring. I think it was super dope. And talking about the score, so this is one of the main things that I think really carries the movie. The the movie in and of itself was beautiful. It was amazing. But I do think the score, the sound, and everything around it carries the movie. And Ludwig is the guy that basically made the score from this film. And I think he's been working with Ryan Coogler all the way back through Fruitvale Station. And I know before that he was working with Childish Gambino for I want to say the album Camp or Because of the Internet. They used to work together on Community. So just to see where he's come from and how amazing he's doing making soundtracks to these films at this point is just crazy. So I do want to just watch this about him real quick.
Next thing I know, he's writing the new Rocky movie. I read the script for Creed, and that was my first idea was to go record all these sounds with the boxer.
Ready?
I took all those sounds and turned that into sound design. And I started to make some beats and make like 5, 6, 7 minute songs with just these sounds. And try and come up with themes and melodies based on what I read in the script. All these beats are kind of made by these boxing elements that I recorded in Oakland. That's like something I put together with jumping jump ropes and punching some bags. My thought was like, this could be a good skeleton to come up with something totally unique. The next thing I know, he's writing the new Rocky movie. I read the script for Creed, and that was my first idea was to go record all these sounds with the boxer.
Ready?
I took all those sounds and turned that into sound design. And I started to make some beats and make like 5, 6, 7 minute songs.
Sorry, I'm muted. Again, still new to streaming. If I'm messing up on anything, leave it in the chat. Also, y'all leave in the chat. Let me know how your day is going, Easter weekend, what you up to, all of that. But I just wanted to show like behind the scenes of Ludwig actually working. He does the scores for the Creed movies. He did the score, the amazing score, soundtrack, all of that for Sinners, which I think is a major part of why that movie was so amazing, why you get chills watching it. So again, just watching some behind the scenes of how he actually does his work.
Songs with just these sounds. And try and come up with themes and melodies based on what I read in the script. All these beats are kind of made by these boxing elements that I recorded in Oakland. That's like something I put together with jumping jump ropes and punching some bags. My thought was like, this could be a good skeleton to come up with something totally unique. The next thing I know, he's writing the new Rocky movie. I read the script for Creed, and
so yeah, Ludwig is super dope. I think dude has Grammys and all that from some of the work he's done. But get to some of these responses, because again, I said there were a lot of people that loved this movie, but there were a lot of people that didn't, that said they were disappointed for one reason or another. And I'll go through the comments and kind of see what they're saying about them. But okay, I was super hyped, but anyone else really disappointed? I don't know this woman, Edna, or why she would be disappointed in such an amazing movie. I mean, even if you didn't like some things about the movie, you would have to love the cinematography. I mean, even when they're just driving in the car through the cotton fields, how that looked, how it looked in the juke joint, those different scenes. I don't know why anybody would be disappointed in that movie. Disappointed why they didn't get an answer. Let's see. Movie was a 1.7 out of 10. That is insane. There's no way that anyone can watch that, that anyone can watch Sinners and say it's a 1.7 unless they're just trying to be contrarian and just hate the movie just because maybe they don't like the content or the context of the movie. Again, it's about the Jim Crow South. It's about how black people were living in that time. It shows the KKK in there. It was a lot of stuff that certain people just wouldn't like or wouldn't like the optics of. But for somebody to say that movie was 1.7 is crazy, because there are movies that are far worse. There are Marvel movies that are far worse than Sinners was that, have a better score than that. Let's see. Hey, it's not for everyone, but your money still went towards it. But your money still went towards its support. So I'm glad it did. Cap, I agree. Cap. Ain't no way that Sinners is a 1.7. It's because he's black. And I think that was in response to the score being as high as it was. It's not because Ryan Coogler is black or a black film. It's because it's a really good film. People love it and people went to see it. Lots of movies have been made by black people, bro. I did not say I hate black directed movies. That conversation still goes on. Someone who has not seen the movie, have you seen it? Is it the best movie of the decade? Rotten Tomato ratings are weird. This just means that 98% of the critics thought it was a good movie, not that it's a 98 out of 100 score. Again, people are nitpicking at this. I think the movie is amazing, and people like the movie. They love the movie, and I think that's what's speaking out. This is one that I thought really kind of capped off the whole comments discussion. Movie was dope. It's hard to lock it into any specific category or genre. The soundtrack is really amazing. The film offers something for everyone. I don't know if the film offers something for everyone. I think it offers something for people that appreciate film for what it is, appreciate a good voice saying something new to different genres, to different people. A new IP that's just not rehashing the same superhero or gangster or whatever would have you drama. I think you have to appreciate film to appreciate this movie if you don't like the topics. Don't be racist dicks and say it's for blacks. Go see it, enjoy. I'm fine with people not seeing this movie if they don't want to. Nobody cares or needs their opinion, but let's read some of the comments. I'm Hispanic and the movie was extremely mid. Good for you. Yeah, I don't know how else to respond to that. Dude is pressed over someone else's opinion. Bro just said good for you. It's woke propaganda. I don't think anything about this movie was woke or propaganda. I think it was just telling the story of Jim Crow, Deep South, what people were up to at that time. And again, the brothers, they just a little bit about the movie because I'm not a movie reviewer. I'm not going to get through every scene in the movie, but the Smokestack Brothers or Smokestack Brothers basically were from Mississippi. They left, they went to war, they went to work as a muscle for Al Capone. They basically got enough money doing whatever they did to come home and buy a juke joint. And they wanted to start a basically party house for people. And that's the whole gist of the movie. So it all leads up to everybody being in this one place and then shit goes left. So that's basically the movie. And in that, it shows what the Jim Crow South was looking like, sharecroppers, fields, like what people were doing right after slavery to make money, sharecropping, still working in the same fields that slaves were before them. People are still very poor down there. The KKK still exists. It was a lot. It's a lot to take in, especially if you don't like any of those topics. I happen to like those topics. I think a lot of that stuff is still relative and important to what's going on today. So I loved it. I think the actors were really good. Sammy, who is one of the main characters along with the Smokestack twins, was played by Miles Canton, who is a new actor, but his voice was amazing. And a lot is centered around him singing and the stuff that he's doing in the film. So I thought that was really good. Annie, who is, what is her name? Wumi Masaka. I'm pretty sure I didn't say that right, but she is amazing in the movie. I saw her in Lovecraft Country. She was amazing in that show as well. She was the sister. And who else? Helly Steinfeld, who was amazing. She played Mary in the movie. She basically is like a white passing mixed girl who is in love with Stack, which is one of the brothers. And all that comes full circle at the end of the movie. But get to some of the other things. Reminder that this is the scene of the year. Hell, maybe the decade. Let me glaze. This scene, again, is hands down one of my favorite scenes in cinema ever, where Sammy, he gets his introduction, the juke joint, starts singing, and his voice is he's so talented. His voice is so connected to the spirit world that it basically brings all the different connective tissue of music through black culture throughout time into one room, and the spirits are all dancing around them. It's just amazing. I think that was actually Spike's favorite part in the movie too. Yeah, there's one scene, I don't want to give anything away, so let's see Spike talk about it.
You saw it, right?
Yeah,
That's your Baltimore.
yeah, no facts.
That's
a fact.
and then at first my brother playing twins, but then I got it.
Yeah,
I hope everybody needs to come out April 19th, support this film. It's amazing.
it's incredible.
It's an
Incredible.
incredible film, man. Obviously,
Michael B. Jordan, just
Attention to details.
the attention to detail. Michael B. Jordan did his thing. We talked about the kinship between you and Denzel. I think Ryan and Michael B. Jordan have like a similar kinship.
Yeah. They're doing that thing too.
If you haven't seen the synopsis for Sinners or the trailer for Sinners, it's a brand new take on the horror, and
I want to make
but it's
sure I didn't
also
miss the
very
part with
culturally
Spike
rich.
talking.
Ryan Coogler continues his incredible run
It's my brother.
as one of the most important, directors of our time. So Spike, I need to know your thoughts on, the future of filmmaking, especially with Ryan Coogler and as you see it.
Whew. Ryan, I was in LA and he called me up and said, "You want to?" I said, "Yeah, I'm here." He said, "Well, we're testing the IMAX for this new film." I said, "What's the film?" I didn't even know what it was. It's Spinners. Do you come with us? I said, "Bet." So it was myself, Ryan, and his beautiful wife, and man, I thought I was the courtside. I was jumping up.
Insane. Yeah.
You ask him, man. Watching that film, it was like I was courtside the Garden. We were winning. It's amazing. There's one scene. I don't want to get everything, but there's one scene where the steady cams. So you follow the people, and it goes through the whole
Yes.
history of our
Of
music.
music.
You saw it, right?
Yeah,
That's your Baltimore.
yeah, no facts. That's a fact.
And then at first my brother playing twins, but then I got it.
Yeah.
I hope everybody needs to come out April 19th, support this film. It's amazing.
It's incredible.
It's an
It's incredible.
Yeah, I think that scene was so amazing. Like, it literally connects the, there's arguments a lot on X, Twitter, whatever it is, about, Black Americans not having any culture compared to other Black people around the world. But like, that kind of describes Black culture when it talks about music going from, Delta blues to jazz to hip hop, DJs, rapping, and everything. We have R&B, everything we have going on now. You can see all that in one room, mixing, dancing around each other. Like, I think that part was so special. So again, like, Spike hit the nail on the head. Like, Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler are the new Denzel and Spike Lee. And I think Spike is so dope for just being so willing to embrace new voices, new artists coming up and support them and show them that much love. So I want to finish watching what he says about Ryan Coogler in the film.
Incredible film, man. Obviously,
Michael B. Jordan, just
Attention to details.
the attention to detail. Michael B. Jordan did his thing. We talked about the kinship between you and Denzel. I think Ryan and Michael B. Jordan have like a similar kinship.
Yeah. They're doing that thing too.
If you haven't seen the synopsis for Sinners or the trailer for Sinners, it's a brand new take on the horror, but it's also very culturally rich at the same time, and it's just a mixture. It's almost
I think this movie is going to get a lot of hate for people saying that it's horror, because it's not really that scary to me. Again, I watch scary movies. My girl jumped a couple times, but she's not the best movie watcher either. But I wouldn't really say this is a scary movie. Kind of like Get Out wasn't a scary movie. There are suspenseful moments. There are things that happen that are a little bit scary, but it's not really like a scary movie in the sense of like a Candyman or Friday the 13th or anything like that. It's more of a vampire movie, more of just that type of vibe than anything scary. I just keep comparing it to Interview with the Vampire because that was my favorite vampire movie, but it's not really a scary movie in the sense. So I can see a lot of people talking shit about that aspect of it not being scared, but besides the point.
it's almost like three movies in one. There's a lot of things that sort of happen.
For me, he told me the film was a horror film before. I said, "What is it?" And I don't think it's a horror film.
No.
I don't know exactly what the word is,
Yeah.
but he He invented a new
A genre.
genre.
Yeah, that's a different
You feel
genre.
me?
That's a different genre. I'm
it's
with
a
you. I'm
new-
with you
it's
when
not
you're right.
hard. It's a new genre.
It gives me the same feeling I got the first time I saw Get Out, where I'm like, it's a horror film, but like
It's the
there's so much
emotional
happening in it.
experience.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
like it's a whole experience.
Nah, that shit is
happening
fire, man.
Man.
He I just love to see him work.
Yeah.
And, and going back to our history, Black history,
Mhm.
like our story is so strong and deep rooted
Mhm.
that a lot of it is horror at the
Yeah.
end of the day,
Yeah.
right? So to be able to artistically like put that into story, to filmmaking, to be able to still keep the essence of what we built and our ancestors and the spirit
Built
of,
this country.
you know what I mean? Like the spirit of
free.
our ancestors, spirit of the land. is-
Can't see in the morning, can't see at night. And this guy, they put it back in, but to take Jackie Robinson
Mhm.
and just delete the stuff that he was in
Oh, in
the,
the
in
what
the
is it?
army.
in the White House
Spike about to get political. Hold on, listen.
congressional
Yeah.
yeah.
It's to the point where it stays in your mind, it stays in your soul.
We have it in us. We have it.
we have it in us,
We have
right?
it in us.
So it's
We have
like
it.
until you're able to face that, you ain't gonna understand that, and we wonder why.
And I think that's a perfect point. So a lot of the hate that I've been seeing about this movie is I think people just not liking the content, the time period, what was going on at the time, not really wanting to face that the KKK was really a threat to Black people. Like even at the end of the movie, the whole gist was the Smokestack brothers were never really free. They never really made it to where they thought they were, because even if that night was a huge success, the KKK was still going to come through and wipe them out the next day anyway. So I do think that that is like a really relevant point to even have the KKK in there and say what was going on in the Deep South at that time. But let's finish seeing what about.
Why we stressed out. We wonder why we always, we upset or we having bad days.
Yeah.
You know what? Trauma.
Trauma, like,
Drama. Yeah.
and
Trauma.
that's
Black
really
trauma.
that's really all it is. And I think him exposing that
Mm-hmm.
that Black trauma, whereas a lot of people wouldn't want to touch that,
Right.
and I don't think a lot of people could do it that way.
Nah,
You know what I mean? Like
It was like-
creatively, I don't think a lot of people could tell that story like that.
Without giving too much of the movie away, there's like this underline, like there's sort of like an underlying knowledge that you want your audience to sort of come in with, and they do a good job of still setting that up.
The baseline.
And then when it gets to the horror part, it just flips all that on its ear, and it's just like, oh,
So because they're talking about this setup, I do want to talk about the movie again without going by scene or a breakdown. I think the first act was really amazing. It did a great job of like setting up who the Smokestack twins are, Preacher Boy, their cousin, the different characters that are going to be involved later. And the whole point of like the first act is to get to the juke joint where the real movie happens, where all these characters come together and shit goes left. However, in the second act, it does slow down a lot, and I don't know what I titled this stream. I think something like Cinders was amazing, but there's one problem or something like that. My problem with the movie, and it's not a problem, it's a nitpick more than anything else. The second act really slows down. Like the first is steamrolling, it's on a roll, like everything is getting set up. You're figuring out the personalities of the twins, like how serious they are, how much of a threat, how menacing they are on their first interaction with the guy that they buy the juke joint with, to I think it was Smoke, like actually having to shoot two dudes that tried to rob him. It was just real. Like you got to see who they were. You got to see all the side characters and their relationships. But in the second act, the movie really, really slows down to the point that my girl nodded off a little bit. Like we were in one of the nice theaters where you can move the chairs back and forth, and I had to like move her chair to wake her up, like to sit her straight up, because it did slow down a bunch. But we also went before the movie and had like a date night and got sushi and a couple of drinks, so maybe we shouldn't have done both drinks. But the movie did still slow down to set up the character moments and give us a better idea of who people were, their relationships, and all of that. But again, in the third act, all hell breaks loose, and the movie just became my favorite vampire movie ever. It does kind of give the Dusk Till Dawn vibes because they're in one place. It's a lot of stuff happening. And it does give those vibes, but it is a completely different movie. I would say the other thing that I wish was a little bit different on the movie, I wish the head vampire, Remick, I think it was. Let me see if I look dude up. Yes, Remick. I wish he was fleshed out a little bit more. Like when I say this dude was super entertaining and he like carried a big chunk of the movie when Michael B. Jordan wasn't on the scene. Like when he came on, when he started making people vampires and coming to the juke joint, he was menacing, he was scary, he was mysterious. You wanted to know more about him. And for me personally, just being a fan of vampire movies, I wanted to know how old the dude was. When he first comes onto the scene, he's being chased by, I think, Native Americans. So they knew something about him and the vampires that nobody else knew. I would like to know what that relationship was, like how the Native Americans knew who Remick was, how they didn't get bitten or infected by him, and they were about to kill him basically, and then he ended up getting somewhere safe. But I would like to know how he became a vampire, like how he got here from Ireland, because the dude was Irish. He was doing Irish jigs throughout the whole movie, and even when he ended up biting a bunch of people and making them vampires, they were dancing in circles around him doing the Irish jig. They also kind of interacted in a way that I really haven't seen before vampire-wise. They like shared memories. They didn't have a hive mind. They still had all their own personalities. Like the black dudes were still saying the N-word when they were vampires, when they were talking to certain people. It was really funny. But I just would like to know, like, who he was and what he was about and what he was really trying to do, because his main point of coming to the juke joint is he heard somebody singing and he said he wanted to get to that person and turn him into a vampire in order to contact his people who he mentioned were taken from him at some point, you know, in the past. So again, I just really would have liked to know more about Remick, specifically about how the vampires function, what their ultimate goal was. I know for him, he was pitching to the black people that were still in the juke joint that this was their way to be free, to get back at the racists in the Deep South, the KKK members, that he was going to go to their house or their place next, and basically turn them into vampires. And so for a couple people that got turned into vampires, they legit looked happy. Like they looked free. They looked like they were doing what they wanted to do. And that comes back around full circle at the end of the movie. If you stay for the post-credit scenes, there is a scene that I'm not going to spoil you if you haven't seen the movie. If you have, you can leave it in chat. But basically where, you know, two people that we thought were dead at the beginning of the movie come back around. They look normal, they look happy, they're in love, and they are full vampires. And again, I just would like to see, hey, what's going on, Arya? I just would like to see what their purpose was, like what they had been doing for the past 40, 50 years. I think the movie takes place in the 1940s, and then we see them in 1992. So again, I love the movie. I thought the movie was amazing. I just would have loved to know more about Remick, where he was coming from, what he was doing, and what his plan was just vampire-wise overall. I want to see if there was anything else that I missed. Okay, so this was, I also found funny. This dude, I just want to give a shout out to, because he was the funniest person in the movie. His name was Cornbread in the movie, but I think his name is Omar Benson. And he's been in everything from like Remember the Titans to a bunch of other movies. I think he was in the movie with Eminem, 8 Mile. But Cornbread was the funniest thing in the movie, and I did see this part, and I just wanted to watch it real quick because I didn't see the full clip.
Black vampires. What are your top 5 black vampires?
Man, we got to go Blade off the rip.
Okay, Blade.
Blade is the top dog.
Blade. So Blade.
I don't know 5 black vampires, but before I even see this clip, it's Blade. It's got to be Vampire in Brooklyn. Eddie Murphy. I don't even know his name. Is there another black vampire? I only know 2 black vampires. So let's see what else they got.
So Blade number 1.
Blade is number 1.
Okay, who else?
I might surprise you with number 2.
Who?
I'm gonna go with Eddie Murphy on this.
Vampire.
It's fantastic. He's fantastic.
Vampire in Brooklyn. He's way up there. Okay, Vampire in Brooklyn, number 2.
Now
okay.
we going only black vamps.
Only black vampires here.
Well, if we're going only black vamps, I'm gonna throw somebody new up there, way up there.
Who?
The young man that's playing Louis on the Interview with a Vampire TV show is phenomenal.
He loves.
I've never watched Interview with the Vampire, the TV show. I think it's on Amazon Prime. If y'all have seen it in the chat, let me know if it's worth watching. Let me know if it's good. Like I said, Interview with the Vampire was my favorite vampire movie ever. That's the last movie I ever went to the movie theaters with my mother to see. I just didn't want anything to like. If it wasn't that good, I didn't want to invest my time to like watch a story that I already saw. So if y'all saw that show, let me watch. But because he said that, I might go watch the show.
What's the guy's name?
Jacob Anderson.
is.
Yeah, no. Y'all got to watch Interview with the Vampire. Okay, number 3. That's a good one, okay? Okay. All right, yeah, Sleeper. Who else?
I'm gonna give a nod to the black exploitation on
I'm about
this
to
one.
say, yeah, he's got to
I gotta go with Blackula.
Blackula's got to be in
He
there.
gotta, I mean, we're talking about black. It's not a lot of
Never saw Blackula. I think that was way before my time. But again, y'all let me know if y'all seen that.
black vampire representation
Yeah.
that I can think of off the dome.
Yeah.
So I'm going 4 for 5, and if I need a 5th, when I think about it, other than the ones we spoke about, it's not
that
a
many.
lot there to be repped.
Because what I would like is a black female vampire in there. That's what I would like.
Yeah.
Lestat. What was the movie? It was a movie a long time ago. It was something with the vampire. Aaliyah was in that movie. Aaliyah was like the head vampire. She would sleep. They woke her up because he was playing the guitar. I can't remember the name of the movie. Let me see. Aaliyah movies. She was a vampire. I guess she counts as a black vampire. I spelled Google wrong. Don't judge me. How you spell Aaliyah? Aaliyah vampire movie. Queen of the Dam. Boom. Queen of the Dam. Black vampire right there. Where was I? I don't know where I was. Was it here? Okay, let's see.
So these are the black female vampires that we're going to slide into. I'm going to give you a choice here. So you got rest in peace Aaliyah,
Oh, yeah.
Akasha,
Oh,
Queen of the Damned.
Queen of the Dam.
Yes.
You have Tara
That's the
Thornton,
one.
Rutina Wesley, played by Rutina Wesley in True Blood. You got
she was really good in True Blood.
Ganja
I've never watched True Blood. I have no clue who that is.
Mita, Ganja and Hess, old school vampire movie that
Okay.
I don't know what that is.
Ashley loves. And then you have Katrina, Grace as portrayed by Grace Jones in the movie Vamp. If you guys have never seen Vamp, remember that? remember that? Like, see Vamp? If you guys never seen Vamp,
Damn.
go see Vamp. For me, if it's a 5, I'm gonna put Katrina in because it's an iconic performance. I could go for Aaliyah here too, but
I could
Vamp
go
is
for
crazy.
Aaliyah, but I
I think all those movies were before my time. I don't know if there will be another black vampire on the list from the movie Sinners. Maybe him. I think it was already spoiled in the trailers, but he does get turned into a vampire and he is funny as hell. So maybe him, but I don't think we'll get like another iconic black vampire from Sinners. Let's see what this says. Ryan Coogler's Warner Brothers deal to gain ownership of Sinners 25 years after the release has Hollywood ultra freaked out. It could be the end of the studio system, an exec at another studio tells me. I don't know how that's dangerous. So one, I would think he has enough clout to be able to do that now at this point. Ryan Coogler has one of the best filmographies in Hollywood at this point, director-wise, right? I'm on Google. I don't have to Google. Ryan Coogler filmography. Yeah, bruh is I was gonna say he was 5 for 5. I think Fruitville Station was amazing, especially for the time that it came out and the story that it told with Oscar Grant long before, you know, everything that's happened more recently. Then right after that, he jumped to Creed, he brought back a dead franchise. By that point, Rocky was really over. I didn't even see the last Rocky before it turned into Creed, but Creed was amazing. Apollo Creed was always my favorite character in Rocky, so just to see like his story come full circle with Creed, I thought that was dope. That movie made me work out so hard. I literally had to get back in shape after I saw Creed. Then 3 years later, he jumped to Black Panther, which broke all type of box office records, was a great movie. And to this day, behind Captain America Winter Soldier, Black Panther is my favorite Marvel movie, and Killmonger is my favorite MCU character and villain altogether just for his stance. I didn't really like Wakanda Forever. I'm probably in a minority with that. It was originally Ryan Coogler was going to make a whole different movie, But of course, after the death of Chadwick Boseman, he kind of had to remix it and just tell a different story. So I understand the way it came out. I just didn't like the movie. I don't really like some of the characters in the movie like that. But of course, Sinners is damn near a perfect movie in my opinion. Like I said, the second act was a little bit slow. I wish I knew more about the vampires, the head vampire Remick, but everything else in that movie was perfect, I think. Let me see if I'm missing anything. Oh, okay, so going back to this, studios are scared. I think based on the clout that he has, he should have been able to get those movie rights back in 10, 15 years, out of 25 years. I guess you still make money off of a movie, off royalties that long if the movie is being aired on TV a lot. I don't know how movie royalties work like that, but I mean, I guess it's still great that he gets back the rights to his own movie. This tweet, and again, I can't validate it, but it says, Coogler begged for this movie to get picked up literally 5 years ago, and y'all told him no for 3 years, then told him if the movie is a flop, the $80 million is on him. Now that's about to make $300 million easily. It's dangerous. I get the point. I think the budget for this movie was $90 million. You know the rule with movies. If it's $90 million, you have to double it for advertisement, all that. But this movie is definitely breaking records and is going to make back its full budget over the weekend, honestly. So that's amazing. Oh, and just talking about royalties, I don't know how movies work, how he's going to make that money back after he gets the rights back 25 years. But this is just about Jason Weaver, who sung the Simba song in the original Lion King. I think he did the Simba voice altogether. His mother negotiated a deal for him to get royalties over his lifetime instead of the $2 million that they were originally going to give him. And this is a clip just talking about it. I think this is DJ Vlad, who I don't really want to play DJ Vlad. Hopefully he doesn't copyright claim this. He might, but let's see what they're saying.
$2 million check to sing the parts in The Lion King.
Yep.
Not even do the voice yet, just do the singing parts.
Just sing it. When they offered that deal, it was really just to take this money and go. Because I think they knew and forecasted that they were going to make a shit ton of money, and $2 million next to, hundreds, if not billions of dollars that they've made off of this franchise. Like, they got dolls and t-shirts and video games. And I mean, I got a platinum plaque for a storybook.
That's crazy.
That they released. You know what I'm saying? That was really just a storybook with my song in it.
So you took less money with royalties?
Absolutely.
Was it like $1 million, or do you remember how much it was?
No, it was relatively low. I think it was like 100,000.
You went from $2 million to 100,000.
Yep.
In order to get royalties.
So you could play the long game.
I know Mama had the plan and saw the vision, but I don't know if I'm giving up $2 million for 100,000 in royalties over the long term. But again, that's me. I'm probably bad at business. She clearly did the right thing. I want to know how much Lion King made over the course. How much did the original Lion King make? I can't spell. The original Lion King almost made $1 billion, and that's just at the box office. So we don't know what percentage he got from that, but if he got anywhere close to 10% of that, bro, it's sitting lovely. Another tweet just about the movie, this being Miles Canton's first role. Woo, he blew it out of the water, and Hollywood needs to be knocking down his door with offers. Yeah, his voice in this movie was amazing. I mean, when he started singing, when he introduced himself, and again, that's when the best scene in the movie happened, when basically he started talking to the spirits of Black music throughout time, and they all came in one room. The shit was just amazing. Like, his voice is amazing. I want to check out his music after this. I think he is a real musician. And just kind of like the last note about Ryan Coogler, based on this success, he's going to reboot the X-Files franchise, which I think is going to be dope. I remember watching X-Files, I think on Fox, growing up all the time. So to see him do, more moves in this genre, and like the horror, scary genre is going to be dope. I think anything Ryan Coogler touches from this point on is going to be amazing. And just the last point about this, just going back to the juke joint, I think they did a a poster for this. I hope I can buy this because I really want to hang this back there on my wall. And this artwork is inspired by Ernie Burns. If you've ever seen Good Times and watched the credits for Good Times, you would see these paintings. I always remember this painting from Good Times, and like my barber used to have it up. But this is just some of the artwork from the whole juke joint scene back in the day. Oh, I didn't know Marvin Gaye used that for a cover. I Want You. I feel like I heard the I Want You album. Camp Low. But yeah, so again, Sinners was amazing. Oh, and one last thing about Sinners. This is part of the story of Sinners and part of some of the myth behind the story that was actually happening was, you know, Ryan Coogler's inspirations for making Sinners and where some of the story came from. And it actually came from this, which I saw this on TikTok, so I just wanted to share. Is it not going to let me play? Play. Oh my God, do I got to take this off? Play the audio. Let me see. It's not going to let me play. Is it really going to make me pick objects that are the same? Boom. Okay, let's see.
This makes Ryan Coogler's Sinners 1,000 times more scarier. I've always heard about the Robert Johnson story. So if y'all don't know who Robert Johnson is, he was basically a jazz musician from Mississippi. And he was just an up-and-coming jazz musician, basically just trying to get his name out there and everything. And to the point, he was actually doing music in like old juke joints on a corner, anything to just get, you know, out there and promote himself as a jazz musician. But from my knowledge, his career wasn't going the way he wanted it to go. So he ended up looking for help in the wrong type of energy. The devil, of course.
The wrong type of energy.
So basically, make a long story short, it's a whole legend and rumor out there that basically Robert Johnson actually met the devil at the crossroads in Mississippi. When I sat back and thought about it, I'm like, bro, Ryan Coogler's Sinners, Preacher Boy Sammy, this movie takes place in Mississippi. They were comparing the vampires to demons and the devil. The whole poster's quote is called Dance with the Devil. Yeah, this movie was based off vampires, but it kind of felt more devilish and demonic. Well, at least like the creepy characters did. So once again, he pushes forward to these crossroads in Mississippi. He ends up meeting the devil. And then the devil ends up grabbing his guitar and playing a few notes on his guitar. Kind of just showing him, hey, I know about music. And the music sounded so good. And Robert Johnson was like, hey, boy, I need to play like that, basically. And the devil gave him the rundown. Hey, I'll give you a contract. I'll make sure you can play the best jazz music ever down in Mississippi. People will know you. But in exchange, you got to sell your soul to me. Rumor has it, Robert Johnson ended up selling his soul to the devil.
So yeah, that is, you know, what Sinners was about. And even if you stay to the end credits, if you go see that movie, you have to stay to the end credits because it does like bring everything full circle, even with the Robert Johnson story, because Sammy kind of refuses to go back the church route that he was supposed to, that Smoke was telling him to go back to after all that was over. So I would say stay to the end credits. You won't be surprised. Again, I think Sinners is an amazing movie. I hope it does well. Me and my girl were talking about going to see it again because it's just an amazing movie. But one of the other things that I wanted to talk about, so Sinners conversation over, go see that movie. I think it's dope. If y'all are coming late or, you know, you're catching up, leave whatever comment you want in the chat. I'll get back to it, especially talking about Sinners. But that's one thing. Something else I wanted to talk about, something else that kind of I came across, which is sad. We all know Adrian Broner, I think. He was a boxer. He was like supposed to be the next Floyd Mayweather. And evidently, he's not doing too well. Bro looks like he fell on hard times. He was just in like a bar fight, I guess. And then he talks about it in kind of like the saddest way possible. When you think of Adrian Broner and you know who he was supposed to be, to kind of see him at this point, and I think he was already talking about being broke before. I just want to show Adrian Broner highlights so y'all see how dope this dude was. So hold on. all this money he had, like, bro was just sitting here counting stacks of money. Not too long ago, he was in court, I think for child support or maybe something else, and he was dead broke, like had no money left. And it's just hard to imagine that somebody blows through millions of dollars, making millions of dollars a night boxing, and all that could be gone. So I'll get to the gist of the video, like where he ends up getting into the fight and how he looks right now compared to how he looked right then. But again, I just want to show y'all who Adrian Broner was and who he was supposed to be.
Treasure that don't bring me no pleasure. Every day I just wake up saying I can.
I remember that. Broner also has some of the best entrances. I think he was the first one to start coming out with rappers like that, and having big entrances into the ring. Like, bro, he was living his life. I gotta say that.
For the money, but that's one of the perks. If y'all got the shovel, then I got the dirt. Burying rappers, what I mean when I say take them to church. And I'm all influential, cause I'm somewhat anti-governmental. When I feel like all I need is God, I don't really give a fuck if I offend you. I don't really think you know what. From here on earth, please hear my verse. Cause yeah, they said it, but I said it first.
So Adrian Broner definitely came at a time when like Floyd was getting out the game, retiring, and he was supposed to be the next up. But I think he took Floyd's lifestyle and tried to run with it without realizing, like, Floyd Mayweather didn't drink, didn't smoke. He would go out, but he still didn't like indulge in the party life like that, where it seems like that's all that Adrian Broner did once he like reached that level. And again, I talked about Adrian Broner running out of money and being broke, so you can hear what he says right here.
That's the thing. See, that's the thing. It is a different AB. It is. What happened was, I only had $13 coming into this motherfucker.
This is at the end of his career after he's fought 20-something fights, made millions of dollars a night. I remember Jay-Z, Rock Nation offered him, I want to say like $3 million or something like that for a fight, and he told them to suck his, because he was worth more than that, to be down to $13. And then watch what he says what he's going to do with the money.
I only had $13 coming into this motherfucker fight. We done flipped that to about 13 million. So a lot of things gonna change. We gonna listen. I ain't gonna lie. For the rest of the weekend, we're gonna pop bottles, cash checks, and have sex. But on Monday, it's back to kicking ass and hitting bags.
Dude was entertaining. But anyway, so all that leads to where he is today, somewhere at a random bar getting in a fight, and it's just crazy. That's Broner.
It's to all you people talking about my boy got fucked up last night. You know I pulled right up on my brother ASAP.
And then he talks about the fight. Again, I'm just looking at this as very sad because, like, Adrian Broner should be a legendary fighter. Like, he shouldn't be in this position where he's in a random bar getting lumped up by random people about nothing. But this is him talking about it.
People talking about my boy got fucked up last night.
Where?
Bro, Adrian Broner looks 50 years old. How old is Adrian Broner? Let me see. I keep Googling stuff. How old is Adrian? How you spell it? Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner is younger than me, bro. bro is 35 years old and he looks fucking 50. That's what living a party life does. Like, not having moderation, drinking too much, just the whole party life. Bro looks fucking 50 years old.
Where? Quit playing.
The real video and the real story
I ain't gonna lie, the nigga stole me though.
He did?
Yeah, he stole me.
His mouse buddy on that video I seen.
I know. Yeah, I bet it was. These leopards.
Yeah, y'all talking all that shit. Like my boy got
Yeah, he aged horribly.
straight last night.
I'm a real nigga. I'm a real nigga. He stole me though. He stole me. Bang. I'm like, ooh. Now it's time to catch these though. Time to catch these.
Return to sender?
Man, what? Return to sender, and then I look to the right, and guess who I see? My brother Haiti. Then it's like, all right, I don't give a fuck who we fighting now. 18 against 2.
Story time.
Man, hell you talking about? Y'all better quit playing.
Bro, as a world champion, renowned boxer, there's no way that Adrian Broner is supposed to be in a position where he's in a bar getting lumped up. Hey, he looks like he in a trap house right now. Like, this is just like a regular house. Like, for him to not be sitting on millions of dollars, to not be living a good life when he was not neck and neck with Floyd Mayweather, but he was up under Floyd Mayweather. Like, he should still be a millionaire. He should still be doing well. He should have a record label because he was so into music and that's what he wanted to do. Hold on, is this him rapping? I never liked his music, but look at that. Like, how much was that chain and how much is that chain worth that he's down to no money, to just living a less than regular person life and just looking that bad in life? But hold on, I want to see if this was any good.
Niggas going broke. Niggas are fake. Acting like they made it. All for the fame. All for a chain. Niggas are fake. Acting like they made it.
All right, that's it. What I want to say just about Adrian Broner in general, man, when you get to a certain point in life, you're supposed to be not put yourself in certain situations where you're going to, have to get in fights with people or defend yourself. Like, you shouldn't even be out at a bar like that. You're Adrian Broner. You're was a world champion, a world-renowned person. Like, do better than that. And bro needs to drink water and go exercise. There's no way he's 35 and should be fucking looking like this. I'm sorry, that's crazy.
Where? Quit playing.
I'm sorry, that's crazy. Okay, the last thing I wanted to talk about on this stream, thank y'all for hanging with me, was just this whole Wallow situation where he's basically talking about black businesses. I guess he was at a black-owned event, or he was a paid speaker, and he had this to say about black business, and a lot of people felt the way about it. So I never made it through the whole clip, so I just want to see what he has to say, get people's reactions, and then give my thoughts on it in general.
Us. Oh, I'm black. Oh, black people. Nobody gives a fuck about that. Kill that shit. Either you got a good business or you don't. All that shit, don't nobody want to hear that shit. That's a hustle. Support me because I got a black business. Is your restaurant clean? Is the food good? Do you got consistent cooks? Is the material of your shit good? Stop doing that. Oh, you support the white people? No, I support consistency, baby. Yeah. Don't fuck about what color you is. I'm gonna spend my money. That paper, I'm gonna spend them deals where the fuck I wanna spend it at. Whether it's Porsche, Ferrari, Lamborghini, I'm gonna do what the fuck I wanna do while I'm here. But I'm gonna tell you one thing, I ain't gonna be finessed off some black shit. But one thing about it, 70% of you motherfuckers is not going to make it. I'm not no motherfucking fake ass motivational speaker that talk this dumb shit. I'm the #1 nigga in the country. You know why? Y'all seen me come out of the penitentiary. I make millions, and I make millionaires, baby. You understand me? I come from the...
Calling yourself the #1 nigga in the country is crazy. But I do want to see the response to what people have to say about this. I think this was the Joe Budden podcast kind of like responding to the Wallow clip.
Oh, you support the white people? No, I support I want to spend it at. Whether it's Porsche, Ferrari, Lamborghini, I'm going to do what the fuck I want to do while I'm here. But I'm dumb shit. I'm the
first word that came to mind. It might not be offensive. Tell me why you found it offensive, and that's just the first word that came to mind. It might not be offensive, but just tell me what was wrong with what he said.
So if you take each of the things he says individually, like, okay, race, we shouldn't just look at race, sure. if you run a business, you shouldn't be riding on the back of just being black and expect people to support you if it's a bad business because you're black. Your cook should be lined up. Your business should be tight. The restaurant should be clean. All that's true, right? Most of y'all not gonna make it. I actually think that's an important thing to tell any business owner, any entrepreneur. All that is good. But what the takeaway comes from that is we don't need to have a special responsibility or a special duty to support black businesses because they're black. And I think as black people, we absolutely have a duty to support black businesses because they're black,
whether they're good or not. I totally disagree.
That's where the straw man comes. That's where the straw man comes. Again, I'm not saying keep going to a restaurant that has rats in it, but what I'm saying is he's saying.
Yeah, like how would you know if a restaurant or a business is good or not until you support them? Going back to the Wallow clip real quick, I don't think he specifically said anything wrong. I think his tone was crazy to be talking in a room full of black business people that are clearly paying him. He's on some type of panel, so they're entrepreneurs aspiring to build a business to do something. And for this to be his tone.
Us, oh, I'm black. Oh, black people. Nobody gives a fuck about that. Kill that shit.
Hey, so my girl always tells me I don't say things wrong, but my tone sometimes ruins what I'm trying to say. And I think that was the gist with this. Like the way he was coming across probably didn't come across the best way because of his tone, how vulgar it was, how aggressive it was. And his point kind of got lost in the sauce. But I want to finish hearing what Mark Lamont says.
Saying he's framing it almost like he said it's a finesse. This, riding off this black shit. Or I'm not going to support you just because you're black. I'm saying, we should support businesses just because they black. We should pay special
facts. I agree.
Special extra attention because they black. Because a lot of times what black people do, which frustrates me as a black business owner, and everybody here is a black business owner, so y'all understand this, is that niggas will throw us away so fast. If somebody has to wait for 10 minutes at the soul food restaurant, man, these niggas, I had to wait 25 minutes for my soul food. I ain't never coming back again.
But they'll wait like an hour at Houston's.
Nigga, they will have a buzzer at the Olive Garden to get that food, right? They give us no grace, no mercy, no breaks, and I'm saying we need it. No community has the money leave their community faster than black dollars. That's fact. We give that shit away quick, and we love to give it to the dry cleaner, the restaurant.
Touch one hand and it goes straight to the.
And that's what I'm saying.
Community.
So I'm saying we have a responsibility not to play into that. And I don't. And Wallow does support black business. Like I said, he makes extra trips to my bookstore just to buy books when he could buy them from Amazon for a lot cheaper, frankly. But when you send that message.
I will agree with that. Like, I think we do kind of get frustrated with our own people a lot quicker than we do other businesses or business owners or other cultures in general. But also, there are some times where black people or black businesses have bad service. Like, I remember specifically, I owned a clothing line and I was trying to get embroidery done on a polo that I could have went to another, just a big generalized embroiderer or screen printer and got it done. But I was trying to deal specifically with a black screen printer and embroiderer. And bro's just customer service, responsiveness was not there, to the point that I had to get very black in my communications with him. Like, give me my shit. And I wouldn't have had to do that with another company, I don't feel like. But I do think black people do have a specific responsibility to at least try to support black business before you spend your dollar elsewhere, especially if you can get what you want from a black business. So I definitely agree with Mark there. I want to see what... Okay, I think Rachel was talking about this, so let's see.
And he had this to say about black businesses.
Oh, I'm black. Oh, black people. Nobody gives a fuck about that. Kill that shit. Ow. Either you got a good business.
Him saying that clip is so crazy. Hold on, let's see what she says.
I understand if he's speaking in terms of you can't expect your business to be successful by only saying I'm a black-owned business, and therefore because you are black, you need to support my black-owned business. If that's what he means.
Right, my business is trash, but I'm black, so you got to support me. I definitely agree. You don't have to spend your money with a trash business or company no matter what. But I just don't think that's what Wallow was saying, but I'll let her finish.
I understand that. But the way that he's yelling in this context and basically saying, I'm not going to support you just because you're black. I feel like when people say support black-owned businesses, that's not what they're asking for.
Okay, you want me to say something? I'm listening to you.
I mean, no, this is all I have. This is my first time listening to it. I didn't listen to this. I didn't hear this before. It sounds to me this clip sounds so anti-black, and it's so.
It does, and his delivery in a room full of black entrepreneurs just trying to do better, trying to learn or network or whatever the case was absolutely trash. Him yelling like that, him cursing was absolutely trash. But
seems to me to miss the whole movement around support black businesses. It's, hey, sometimes for me, for example, I said on this podcast one time and I was like, I don't know the list of black businesses out there that are at Target or at Walmart. When we were talking about DEI and we were talking about Tabitha Brown, and we were having that. And then people flooded me with, hey, there's an encyclopedia or kind of a Bible of black businesses and how you can support them and find them. They're not saying, I just, when I listen to this, it just sounds so anti-black. The whole movement is, hey, you might not be aware that you can get these same products from black businesses and you can support and uplift them because they might not have the marketing the same way. They might not have the money or the capital. They might not have the support in the same way some of these white-owned businesses that we're more familiar with do. So
agree. That's why it should be incentivized to support black businesses. Like, we know by now, historically, we get way less investment dollars, way less loans than any other culture starting business for whatever systematic reasons that you can point to. So we are starting behind a lot of other people and cultures when it comes to starting businesses. So I do think black people have a responsibility to at least try to support black businesses if possible. But again, if the business is trash, the service is trash, the quality isn't there, then you don't have to keep giving your money anywhere. But I do think the way Wallo was coming off was wrong, even though what he was saying probably wasn't wrong. But again, let me let her finish.
Support these black-owned businesses, not just because they're black, but because they have legitimate and quality products. When I listen to Wallo, right, it sounds like he's anti that.
Right.
Okay. So I'm going to
Van?
View this in the most charitable way possible, and that's because, which is the whole point.
It's just a problem to me.
Well, it's not a problem. To me, it's not a problem. Like, to me, being charitable culturally is not a problem. It's like what you should do. It's essentially like what you're talking about. You're talking about chances, giving chances. And that's what doesn't happen for black people. Let's start with a different story.
Right.
Let's start with the story of a white man. You heard of Jeff Bezos?
Jeff Bezos?
You know what that is? He just went jail to
the richest guy in the world, second richest guy in the world.
She had a great time up there. Shout out
Well,
to
she
Jill.
came back.
What does this have to do with Wallo?
That was a rough ride. It was like a rough ride for Gail. Do you know how Amazon was started?
He was selling books out of his garage.
Donnie looked this up.
Did he get a loan?
He went around and asked for a bunch of money.
Oh, God.
And I think he was able to raise from friends and family around $300,000.
Sheesh.
To start Amazon.
I didn't know that.
Now, Jeff Bezos and Amazon, their success has to do with an incredible business model and an incredible finger on the pulse of how people want to get goods and services. However, Jeff Bezos was able to start Amazon because Jeff Bezos is white. And being white meant that he had access to capital.
Access to capital,
access
friends
to
with money,
resources
loans,
that a
resources.
lot of
Yep.
black people don't have. We've talked about on this podcast the wealth gap between
Random. Why the hell is Van wearing gloves? Leather gloves. What is Van Lathan doing? What you got going on? All right, but hold on.
to resources that a lot of black people don't have. We've talked about on this podcast the wealth gap between black people and white people.
For sure.
Black
Right.
people and a lot of other people. Which means that if you want to start your business, if the bank doesn't give you the money for whatever wacky idea that you have or visionary idea that you have,
Where you going to get the money from?
you'd have to raise it from people. And raising it from people is going to be a lot harder if the network of people that you are raising it
Lower.
don't have the same access to capital that you do. So if you were around in 1992 or 19 and you wanted to start Amazon, would you be able to raise the $300,000? I watch the show all the time, The Food That Made America. And something always happens in these amazing stories of people developing these incredible food brands. And The Men Who Made America and all of
They get loans from friends and family, or they get investments. I'm guessing that's what he's saying. I don't know. I don't know The Food That Made America. So let's see.
that stuff. Somebody has an idea, and then they have access to capital. The
Right.
W.K. Kellogg guy actually stole the idea from his brother who ran a sanitarium in Battle Creek, Michigan. But there's a part of the story that is always, to me, super important. He had that idea for grape nuts or cornflakes or whatever it was, and then he went and was able to raise money, get a loan to start his company. And I think if I'm a black man in 1901, 1905 in Battle Creek, Michigan, and I see that they doing grape nuts or cornflakes or whatever, can I go to a bank at that time and then get a loan from the bank to start my business?
Absolutely
Probably
not. No.
Fucking slave. Get back to Alabama where there's shit in the water. Right? So what we have to spend with each other is loan to start
I'm sorry. That part was funny. I just want to hear that again.
money, get a loan to start his company. And I think if I'm a black man in 1901, 1905 in Battle Creek, Michigan, and I see that they doing grape nuts or cornflakes or whatever, can I go to a bank at that time and then get a loan from the bank to start my business? Probably not.
Right.
Fucking slave. Get back to Alabama where there's shit in the water. Right? So what we have to spend with each other is solidarity. That's our greatest wealth. Our greatest wealth as black people is solidarity.
Right.
That's the number one form of riches that we have. It's the fact that we care about each other. There is no form of payment that means more than that for us. Because the wealth that we should have had in this country was systemically stolen from us. We were burned out of it. We were swindled out of it. And we didn't have access to it in the first place because of our enslavement. So the riches that you give to other people as black people is your love and support. That's the number one form of riches that we have. And sometimes you have to support people in the idea of what they want to be. You have to support where they want to go. And you can't just support what they are. Because if you just would have supported Jeff Bezos in 1992, you'd have been supporting somebody in their garage with a telephone and a printed out Amazon sign in the back that say they want to sell books to the entire world. And it doesn't seem like you're going to make your money back in supporting that. Now, I'm not saying that everybody's going to be Jeff Bezos.
Can I just say, man, Van Lathan has been on fire ever since he checked Kanye for the slavery was a choice comments, man. I love this dude. I mean, everything he's saying is 100% accurate and great points, especially when it comes to the black community and needing to support each other because we don't have resources on the most part when it comes to businesses outside of our community or outside of raising money through actually running a business. I mean, his points are, he hit the nail on the head.
And I'm not saying that you don't need to have clean restaurants. I'm not saying that you don't need to do. What I am saying, though, is the fact that we don't have the same resources to support each other, by and large, that other groups do. The number one way we can support each other is with support. I got this T-shirt from the Blackest CO, Brooklyn Tea, black tea place in New York, the Black Farmers Box in Houston, organically sourcing stuff from farm and then giving you farm to table different stuff. All of these places are places that you can go support. Go support them. Support the Nina Parker collection.
Right.
I think this is dope. And honestly, it goes back to the whole Ryan Coogler Sinners movie that it seems like a lot of other coaches are pushing back about not liking the movie because the content or the context or the time period or what was going on then with KKK and everything else and the story being so black. But I think it's dope that people, and not just the black community, but specifically the black community, are coming out to support that movie. And I think it goes with everything that Van Lathan was saying with empowering our voices in our community to be successful, to do better, better and showing our love and giving our dollars is how we support each other. I think that's dope, and I think he hit the nail on the head with that. I just want to get into a few more reactions to the whole Wallow thing to see what other people are saying, and then we will wrap this up.
Try to discredit you, right? That's that crab in the barrel mindset. But the fact of the matter is, Wallow wasn't wrong for what he said. Just because you black, that don't mean you're deserving of my dollars. Yes, we should patronize black businesses. We should prioritize black businesses. But the context is we should prioritize black businesses that have good products and services. We should.
Bro is clearly from Philly. He got to be from Philly with that accent.
We should prioritize black business owners that's actually doing business and not out here hustling. Because the fact of the matter is, a lot of black business owners, and I could say this as a strategic advisor that work with a lot of black business owners, a lot of black founders of organizations, people are still hustling. People not doing business. They're not trying to hire and delegate and do all of that thing. They rather upgrade their lifestyle before they upgrade their finance and their business. See, look, true entrepreneurship is being okay.
I get that point, but I also think the point that he's missing that Rachel and Van hit was that you still have to give black businesses a chance. And I think the way that Wallow was coming off is he was just saying he's not worried about black businesses. He's going to do what he wants with his money. And again, that's the way it came off. And no, nobody's obligated to support anybody, but I think it's in black people's best interest to support black businesses if and when possible. And then again, if the service isn't good, you don't have to keep being a patron. You have the right to spend your money where you want, but at least give black businesses a chance for the sake of the community. Let's see.
We understand something that a lot of black people who have never owned their own. For those of us who are black and own our own businesses, we understand something that a lot of black people who have never owned their own businesses or never dated somebody or been close to somebody who owned a business is that a lot of these corporate companies have customer service. They have a whole branch of customer service that handle that. The owners are completely detached from having to speak to the customers, where a lot of black businesses are, you're speaking straight to the owners. You know, you're dealing with the people that own the business, and we're going to be more sensitive about our baby, about our business than the corporate companies who have a whole dispatch part where they have people dealing with the customer service. They have that barrier. You have to understand that black people's businesses are a little bit closer to our hearts, which you should understand is actually a good thing because we care more about the quality of our product than the
I get the point that she's trying to make, but I disagree. I'm not trying to argue with a business owner or anybody if I have a problem with service or something else. Like, I'm not trying to get in an argument about it. I want the problem corrected or the right service or whatever have you, but I get the point that she's making. Okay, last thought on this.
Who happen to have... Look, man, I am so sick and tired of other black people down talking and downgrading and dogging and tough talking black people who happen to have black businesses. So I'm listening to Wallow and what Wallow said about some black business that said, I'm not going to be finessed on no black business, SHIT, yada, 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 and painting the picture that all black businesses have bad customer service, which is not the case.
Right.
I'm so tired of them painting them pictures. And see what happened with somebody like Wallow. They've given him a check. He's made a little money. So now I guarantee you he would not talk that toughly to any other group of people, but he felt like he was better than everybody in that room.
Yeah, that's definitely how it came off. Like I said, Wallow's tone, the way he was talking, how he was yelling, not even talking, cursing and everything to a room of other aspiring entrepreneurs and black people just trying to run a business or learn about running a business or whatever was kind of crazy. I do agree with that. And it does come off like he was talking down to people.
He feels like he's better than every other magically melanated, a.k.a. black person in America, because he says he's the #1 Negro in America, which he's not.
It's crazy. It's crazy to have that.
Cats in the hood who ain't chasing money, status, celebrity, who ain't got no respect for that. I know plenty of young men, magically melanated men, older men, men about my age, old men who are putting in work in the community, not worried about money or status, who are actually talking to the kids, paying for football, athletics, clothing, food. I see him all the time. So for him to say he's the #1 Negro in America because he has a podcast and he has a platform, see, that's that elitist. That's that black bourgeoisie attitude. That's
Black
what
bourgeoisie.
That's Sigma Pi Phi. That's the attitude he has. I'm so tired of hearing these other Negroes try to make it seem like every black business has poor customer service. I heard one dude say black businesses have the worst customer service ever. Then they asked him how he been to a Chinese restaurant. I don't go to those. Well, how you know they customer service ain't worse than ours?
I think this whole conversation goes back to the whole Keith Lee in Atlanta thing, where basically he said that his experience with all the businesses in Atlanta, which were predominantly black businesses, those restaurants were bad. The service was bad. The wait was too long. The product didn't match what he was ordering, all that type of stuff. There are instances where black businesses in general just have to do better. But again, there are bad businesses everywhere. And I do feel like black people in general hone their displeasure on black businesses and speak out against black businesses when they wouldn't speak out against other type of businesses or other people. In general, just going back to the full conversation, I do think we have a responsibility as black people to try to support each other in our businesses, to try to make them successful as possible, especially if it's a good product or something that we're into. But again, if the service is trash, if the business is trash, you're not obligated to support. So this is the end of the stream. We talked about centers. We talked about Adrian Broner for a little bit. We got on the Wallow Black Business conversation. I want to thank y'all for tuning in, for joining. If y'all have any thoughts, any questions, any follow-up, anything, you can leave it in the chat, leave it in the comments of this video. Thank y'all for joining. I'm going to try to live stream more and more to get the hang of this. If I'm missing anything along the way, y'all let me know. Other than that, thank you for watching. Please make sure you like the video, sub to the channel, and I'll catch y'all next time. Peace. Thank you.